Welcome back to the show. It's number 73.
Episode 73.
I'm E. Willie.
I'm JP.
You sure? It sounds like you hesitated.
I know.
there.
I forgot my name. Who am I?
Who is this? Our last guest, Mr. Jeffrey Cox, felt bad about calling you JC
That's
multiple
all right.
times.
JP, JC.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have the personality of Jesus Christ himself.
Oh,
so,
stop it.
Hey.
Stop it. Yeah. I stressed to him that we're very laid back and you don't care at all. When that happens, it's hard with these little nickname acronyms. He's a very nice guy. He's followed up with me a few times since the episode, and yeah, he's a good dude. We're definitely want to have him back on. We're going to go into our cheers to good news. JP, would you like to kick it off?
Let's cheers to getting those tax returns. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're getting some new equipment. We're going.
You're going to use it.
Oh, if you get money back, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
to get tax returns back. If you get money back.
We got.
I was a CPA for 10 years, so I'm like, oh, God. I let go of that about 5 years ago.
Oh, we got to talk to our guests about that after. I'm very interested in this. Tax returns as a whole just weirds me out. The whole thing is a strange situation, but
It is.
we got money right now. Okay, well, it's good. Let's do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else, JP, or is that yours?
That's mine.
All right. I'm going to cheers to Charlie Robinson, our loyal podcast buddy, first guest we ever had. He's kicking ass on macroaggressions with Charlie Robinson. Just hit 100 episodes. That's
Nice.
freaking awesome.
Already? He
Passed
started
us
after
up.
us, too.
He started like a month or 2 months after.
He's killing us. Wow.
That dude pumps out some content, and it's all very, very detailed, deep talks. It's not like just Beavis and Butthead crap that you and I put out. It's impressive. So, cheers to Charlie kicking the podcast world's ass.
Good.
Keep doing it, brother. And I also want to cheers to you guys that are listening. We just launched the Patreon. It's officially launched today. The links will be in the show. If you are on there, I think I have it set for public right now, or you can just go on. I'll have a poll set up to find out what you guys are using to listen to our show or watch our show.
Mhm.
Curious if it's Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. Where are you consuming the Truth or Theory podcast? So check that out. Look at the Patreon. If you can afford to jump on there, please do. If you can't, no hard feelings. We still love you. Whoa, pack. Today, our guest is going to be blowing our minds because JP and I are pretty dumb when it comes to this topic.
Mhm.
And we're looking forward to learning about this topic. And we got a smart guy on who's handsome, got a nice beard. Welcome to the show.
My hair slicked back.
Oh, he's got nice hair too. Welcome to the show, Otto. Let's see. Oh,
Thank
crap,
you.
I hit the wrong button. There he is. Welcome to the show. How do
Thank
you
you
say
so
your
much
last
for
name?
having me.
Otto
Gomes.
Otto Gomes. Okay, it says the way it looks.
Yeah, usually it's people that have the Z, it's Gomez.
Mhm.
But I've grown up with the S thinking, oh, that it's different. It's Gomes. And so that's what it became.
What's your heritage? Are you Greek?
Well, I'm Spaniard, mixed with Italian, but I was born in Brazil.
Mhm.
Oh, damn. That's cool.
Nailed
What
it.
part of Brazil?
Sao
I was
Paulo.
dead on. Greek.
Close. Yeah, Sao Paulo, Brazil, the big
Oh,
city.
okay. Oh, wow. That's awesome. All right, man. Well, today is the day that we're going to break into the crypto world. We haven't covered this topic at all on our podcast. We got a man who knows a lot about it. He's going to educate us on it. Where do you even start with crypto, and how did you get into it?
Well, I got into it in 2014, end of 2014, beginning of 2015. And man, it was just one of those things that I was working, like I said, in an accounting office, and it was my IT guy. He came to me and he's like, "Did you hear about Bitcoin?" And I'm like, "What is that?" And we sat for about an hour just talking about it and discussing it. And I quickly, because I think I had already that mentality, that math mentality, that I started connecting the dots of how it actually functioned, how it worked. And I'm like, this is the future. This is it. And I was sold immediately. And everybody around me was telling me I was nuts. They're like, it's digital money. Where's this money coming from? What backs it? It's, can you touch it? I mean, there's so many questions back then and everybody called me crazy, but I'm glad I stuck it out.
Right.
But yeah, man, where do you start with it? Well, I always try to give people this one example to kind of get because I have a tendency to, when I start explaining, to start saying words that people don't understand. It makes sense in my head, but then they're like, I'm lost. So I always try to give, I always try to give this this example, a comparable to being like in a gold mine. Okay, so imagine you go into a cave. There's this cave you go into, and you know there's gold in there. There's a ton of gold, and you're there by yourself. And you walk in there with your shovel, and you start shoveling, and you're gonna find gold because you know it's there, and you're the only one there. So you're starting to find gold left and right, just nonstop. After a while, you're like, man, there's so much gold. I got to call my friend. So you call your friend. He comes in. He comes with his shovel. He starts shoveling. Now, mathematically, you've added another variable to finding the gold. So technically, your chances have now gone down a little bit, right? It's become a little bit more difficult to find gold, just a little bit, one person. And then that friend tells another friend, and so forth and so forth. And you have a ton of people now in this gold mine shoveling for gold. And so the difficulty level of finding that gold just went up. What kind of happens in this scenario is the cave kind of self-regulates, right? It self-regulates itself based on how many people are in there trying to look for the gold. And then you have a friend that comes in with like a backhoe, right? Because he's got more money and he invested into a backhoe. So he's like, I'm going to find a lot of gold. And he does. He starts getting a lot of gold, but now the difficulty level just went through the roof because somebody came in with this big tractor to find gold faster. So I guess the idea, the concept is to get in that example is the self-regulation. There's nobody in there going, okay, you're going to get less now and you're going to get more. And there's nobody determining that. People are just there trying to do it, putting in the sweat work and finding the gold based on the environment. Now, that is what blockchain is. The idea of blockchain is this self-regulating, it's a hard-coded protocol. So it's like, like if you have a CD, it's hard-coded on the CD. You can't change it unless you hack it, but then that, even then you can't really do that. It's a CD, right? It's and most people that are born after 2005 probably don't know what a CD is, but a CD is this CD-ROM, and it's hard coded. You can't change it unless you scratch. If you scratch it, maybe it'll change something. But so a blockchain is essentially that. It's this hard coded ecosystem that self-regulates. Now, the one big difference between specifically Bitcoin itself is that in the hard code, there's all these little variables that create scarcity. So you know exactly how many Bitcoin will ever exist. You don't know that with gold, right? We haven't mined every gold mine in the world, which that we can go down that road of like, why is gold price the amount it is today? Who's really regulating those prices? And that's a manipulation thing that's happening, I believe, with fiat. Just pumping the machine go burr, just pumping more fiat into the system to suppress the price and keep it at a certain level. Those are all manipulations that do not happen in crypto. So that's I think is the best way to kind of describe blockchain. And another good part about it is that it's all visible. So you have this when you join the protocol, when you join the blockchain to mine, right? When you put your processing machine to mine for that gold, you're essentially downloading all of the transactions that have ever happened in that protocol. And it's visible. Everybody can see every transaction that's ever happened. And that's essentially how you get into the mine. How you get into the mine is you download the wallet, the Bitcoin wallet. Mm-hmm. And with that wallet, you get every transaction. You get the whole public ledger, okay? So you get to see everybody that's ever been in the mine. You get to see all the coins that have already been generated or have already been found. And you get to read in the code how many, I call it the tokenomics. You get to read how many Bitcoin will ever exist, how many coins will be generated based on the processing power, like how many people are in the mine, mining for it. So all these variables, you can like visually see it, which has never been done before. It's like looking at an ecosystem that you can go, okay, so if I buy this many of this thing, I will own X percentage, and you'll know immediately how much of that specific coin or blockchain you're going to be owning of it. So that's really the best way to explain it. And specific. And then one last thing I want to say specifically with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we got to look at it more like like a Band-Aid. The Band-Aid is the brand name. It's actually the brand name for bandage. So crypto, the industry, is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of the coins. It was just the first one that kind of proved itself worthy and is famous. The whole industry is famous for it just because it was the first one. But the whole industry is really about blockchain. That's why I wanted to bring it back to that. It's really about the idea of this like ecosystem that everybody can visually see it. And also it's decentralized, which that's comparable to like Napster, peer-to-peer. So you don't have like a central server. Everybody's just going into each other's computers and using each other's computers to process and store. And so Bitcoin is just the first one. There's actually over 8,000 different coins you can choose from. And it's endless. I mean, you can create a new one tomorrow. And if you get enough people to come together and decide that it's worth something, it'll be worth something. That's the other thing about the industry, is that just like gold and silver, thousands of years ago, who decided that this thing was going to be worth something, right? Somebody decided. Right. So a few people came together and said, "Oh, this is a pretty piece of rock. Let's start trading it and let's start using it." And eventually it became what it is today. The same thing with Bitcoin and crypto in general. People are just deciding today, because we're still in the innovation stages. People are just deciding, oh, this is worth something. And then you got to decide, okay, why is it worth something? We're definitely at that point now where there has to be a lot of variables to it to be worth something, but that's where we're at. I kind of dumped a lot of information at once. So
no, you're good, man. It was good content. I have so many ignorant questions.
Yeah, I have a few as well. Go ahead.
We'll go one for one.
Okay.
So is this cryptocurrency, we're not going to call it Bitcoin because that would be ignorant, because there's so many, like you said, cryptocurrency, it's an international thing. It's not localized to one country.
No. So just like the internet, right? You access the internet, you're accessing the world. It's a global self-governing. There's no central, and that's what gives it a lot of value, is that there's no scrutiny based on international borders. So like you're not, a government can go, oh, we're going to ban it. And like, all right, good for you. But there's like 180 something countries in the world that are open to it, maybe, so there's no border of
That's
how it can be transacted. It's global and it's instant.
That must make them very uncomfortable that they're losing that power over us.
I call it the most peaceful protests ever. There's literally nothing they can do. They would have to shut down the internet, and that's impossible at this point.
Right. All right, JP, get your question.
So I know that they're talking about making Bitcoin you can actually make purchases with Bitcoin, correct? It's not official yet, but it's coming to a head there. But what separates Bitcoin from a stock? I started dabbling in when GME went huge and things like that. So it's like, what makes it any different than just a regular stock at this point?
So your first question, you can actually, there's thousands of places you can go to and use Bitcoin as payment and start buying stuff with it. Expedia, you can go on Expedia and spend Bitcoin. Wow. I mean, there's Overstock. There's so many now. I can't even name them all. But I've gotten to a point myself where the only reason I have a bank account is to pay my rent, and even then, I'm trying to get the landlord to accept Bitcoin, and it's as easy as downloading an app and then you just doing the transaction right there.
That's crazy.
So there's plenty of ways. There's a company called BitPay that you can get, and that's not the only one. There's just the first one that you can get a debit card. And you have a app on your phone that is your decentralized wallet, and you throw the crypto into that wallet and then put it to your debit card and start using your debit card like a normal Visa. What was your other question again?
What separates it just from a regular stock? So
I guess the biggest difference is that in stocks, how do you buy the stock, right? You go to a centralized exchange. You go to like, what is it, Ameritrade or Robinhood or any of those centralized exchanges, and you buy the stock. And then what do you do with that stock? You keep it there. It's there, right? I don't know. I actually don't know this. Can you transfer a stock from one exchange to the other or no?
I don't believe so.
Right. So you're literally stuck in that one exchange in their central servers. With crypto, you're not. First of all, you're not stuck in the exchange. If you buy the crypto in that exchange, you can take that crypto and transfer it to any exchange in the world, global. And then not only that, but then you can take that crypto and you can take it out of an exchange and put it into a cold storage wallet. So what does that mean? That means that the difference between a hot wallet and a cold wallet, and this is something I actually want to be teaching my course, is who has access to the private keys. So when that I said in the beginning that when you become a miner, when you become a part of the system, you download the wallet, right? So when you download the wallet from, let's say, Bitcoin, you download the wallet onto your computer, you're downloading the ledger for the whole system. And then you're getting two things. You're getting a public key, which is like an email address. That's the best way to compare it to. So you can get that to anybody. It's an email address that can only receive. And then you have the private key. Okay, the private key, that's your key to your money. And that private key, usually when you download the wallet, it's hard coded into the wallet in that system. So if you download it to your computer, it's on your computer. So if you don't back up that key, if you don't write down that key, like get a piece of paper and write down the backup key, and you lose the computer, you lose all your money. You can still like look at the public address and see your money there, but you won't have access to it. The private key allows you to take out the money from that wallet and send it to another wallet. Okay.
This is wild.
So that's the big difference. You can actually take the money out. You can take the stock, or call it stock, but you take that coin or that crypto out of the exchange and put it into your local computer, which then you become your own bank. You become responsible for your money. There's nobody that's going to save you if you lose that computer or that phone. You have to take the steps, and that's why we're still kind of in this like transitional phase into mainstream, because most people don't want that responsibility. We've given away our power to these organizations to take care of us when they're really screwing us over massively by using our, we say like, oh, we're going to keep our money in savings. They're using that money and they're paying you like a 1%, if that, a year. So with this, you have a lot more responsibility, but you now have control of your actual, it really is a physical thing that you have access to in your computer, on your phone in front of you.
Is hackers a problem with this?
So the only way that hackers are a problem is usually by user error. That's the only way to hack into your wallet. So if a lot of people make the mistake of taking a picture of their private key, on your phone, that's hackable. They do the mistake of writing down their private key on their notes, and then the notes, you save it on the cloud, and like people can hack that shit all the time. So I always tell people there's the two best ways of cold storage devices it really is unhackable, is literally get a piece of paper and write it down with a pen, with a pencil, and just have it on a piece of paper. Take that piece of paper and put it in a safe. And do a few of those, so where they are, but nobody else does. And then another one is getting like we call them, like, they're really just USB drives. They have like 500 kilobytes of memory, but that's all you need to have a private key stored. There's one called Trezor, Trezor. That's the one I have. It's exactly that. It's a little Trezor key, and you connect it via USB. And whenever you're going to access your wallet, you connect the key. It has like a two-step. You have like a 2FA or maybe another password protect. And then you have to it's really cool. Like, it changes the order of the numbers. So every time you have to like literally visually look at it and input the numbers differently on the screen. So there's like a really safe way to do that. And even if somebody were to, put a Trojan on your computer to like record your keystrokes or your screen, it doesn't matter, because you don't see you don't see the numbers on the screen. You only see it on the device. So then you have to match what's on the device on the screen. So there's a lot of cool ways to like protect yourself. But like I said, it usually comes down to user error or keeping it on an exchange, because an exchange is just like a bank. You know, a bank can get robbed. Somebody can go into the bank and rob the bank. So if you keep your crypto, I always say this: if you don't own your keys, you don't own your crypto. if your crypto is on a centralized exchange, they own the private key, and at any moment they can go, oh, we're going to take this crypto, or somebody can hack their system, their hot wallet, and take the crypto from the hot wallet. Usually these exchanges have learned this by now, and they have like their own insurance policies and their own ways to firewall it. But it's a risk. You know, it's still a risk to keep it in somebody else's hands.
Right. The Bitcoin is always the one that intrigues me, because I mean, Dogecoin, there's a bunch of them. Dogecoin recently went up to, I don't know, was it $2-3, something like that per share, called a share. But Bitcoin is at like 56,000 I seen the other day per coin, per full coin. But you can buy Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a full coin, correct?
Yeah, you can buy fractions. That's what I love about it.
So essentially, are you sharing one coin with other people?
Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. You go into the network. Well, it's really an exchange. So when you go into an exchange and you have people buying and selling, and you really can't think of it. You really can't think of Bitcoin, like, you know, because that is a thing that people ask me, like, I can't afford a Bitcoin. It's like, yes, you can. You can't afford a full one, yes, but you can get the fractions. And Bitcoin specifically, it's divisible by 8 decimal points after the 0. So you can divide it down to 8 decimal points after the 0. We call them, once you get down to like the very lowest numbers, we call them Satoshis. So those are the sats, which I believe will be the future dollar. So you call it like $1 is going to be 1 sat or 1 Satoshi. Wow. And that is, by the way, is the name of the Satoshi Nakamoto is the name of the guy or the name of the name that was for the publication for the white paper for Bitcoin. Nobody knows who that is. That's a whole mystery. People believe it's one person. Others believe it's a group of people. I think it's a group of people, to start where we are now, but that's a whole conspiracy thing. But yeah, I think that's important to point out, that you can buy $1 worth. You can buy $1 worth, and it's not necessarily that you're sharing that Bitcoin. You're just buying Bitcoin. Right. You know, you're stacking sats, and everybody. That's why I like to call it. It really is like a world global currency, or asset, because everybody owns all of the Bitcoin. Until when you buy $1, you now own all of the Bitcoin, all of it, really, or a portion of all of it, because that $1 worth is going to be connected to this one Bitcoin here, but then at another point it's going to be connected to another Bitcoin. It's all based on what's happening in the protocol. But as long as you have it in your wallet, in your private key wallet, you do own a portion of the network. Right.
Right. Now, doesn't it bother you to spend some of the Bitcoin, because it just fluctuates so much? Say you buy, back in the day, Bitcoin was fairly cheap, and you say you pay your rent with half a Bitcoin, and then come today, you're like, holy shit, I just spent $20,000 on 1 month's rent of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? That seems
all the time, man, all the time. And I have access to my wallet, from years ago, and I always, it kind of hurts to look at, but you always go back and look at the transactions back then. I'm like, oh, look, I just spent 10 Bitcoin on something. Wow. There was a famous story of this guy that bought two pizza pies. This is like 2009, I think. And he bought 2 pizza pies for, I think it was like 10,000 Bitcoin. But this is in the beginning, right? This is like, back then, nobody had the concept or the idea that it would get to where it's at today. Right. I mean, I definitely believe in the last 5 years, people have, definitely switched that mentality, and have seen that it really is based on the scarcity within the protocol. Mm-hmm. And in my experience, it's inevitable for the price to go up. You look at mainstream media talking about, oh, it's going to crash. It's a bubble. it is incomparable to anything you've ever experienced, people. It's incomparable. You cannot compare it to stocks. You cannot compare it to commodities. You cannot compare it to anything. I mean, because it is everything, not even currency. It is everything. It's everything put together, which is actually a big thing that's happening nowadays. It's this issue that the SEC, IRS, FinTech, they're all coming together and trying to figure out, how do you classify this thing? How is it classified? And it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid.
That kind of ties into my next question. If this, which sounds like it's gonna just keep growing and do well, how do the big banking systems and all the elitists and everything, how do they handle this? This seems like a nightmare to them, and that fascinates me. I want to hear that stuff. Yeah,
I think it's okay. So the first thing, I think it's a tool. Okay, just like a gun is a tool, just like currency is a tool. You can use it for good. You can use it for evil. I think that in the beginning, they tried to fight it. And how do they do that? Well, they try to ban it. They try to make it illegal. I lived through a lot of that. I remember there was a year where China was banning it every month. I'm not even kidding you. And it was a cycle, and it was interesting. And I'm like, oh, I started seeing the pattern, because every time they would ban it, the price would go down, they'd buy it up, and then it would go to the next level. And then they do it again. The cycle would run again. And that's when we were like, that at that point we were climbing. So that was like 2016, 17. So I think they try to do that in the beginning. US did it before, and now they're doing it again. So they tried to ban it, didn't work. And then I think what happened was the bankers came together to just join it. You can't beat them, you join them. Yeah. So you have there's a few out there, but the most famous one is Ripple, or XRP. That is a banking coin. It's I've had people, it's not a banking coin, it's the future. And I'm like, yeah, you bought into their marketing. Cool. It's inflationary. They can make as many of it that they want. It is faster than Bitcoin. I mean, we've had so many evolutions since Bitcoin. So there are tons of other coins now that are faster, cheaper. I mean, so much better. Bitcoin is what it is today because it was first. I really believe that. And enough people were invested into it in the beginning that now they're just, this is what it is. That you literally become like, how do you say it? Like an emotional fighter for it, really. I forgot what you call that.
Proponent.
Yeah, I guess. Just a person that really, because you've invested so much time and energy into something that you're like, no, it's going to be it. This is it. And it's like, nah, man, there's so many levels above that now that we're at that are going to be worth so much more in the long run than Bitcoin. And then they're like today they're worth like $1 cents even. So there's plenty of options and evolution since then. But yeah, I think XRP is definitely, it's much better, but like I said, it's centralized and well, not all of it. There's the major nodes, the major transactional points are centralized servers around the world. And because it's inflationary, they can create as many as they want. They can literally just keep creating new money and pumping that into XRP and suppressing the price, just like they do with gold and silver. So yeah, I think what happened was they joined it. And now I've realized recently in the last like 2 years, people like Jack from Twitter and, I'm 50-50 on Elon Musk. I'm not sure yet, but even him has been pushing Doge and pushing Bitcoin. So I think there's it got to a point where, but then you got like Bill Gates where he's like, it's bad, don't do it. So you have like this old system is dying off, and they do want digital currency. I do believe that was always the plan to transition into digital currency, but I think they wanted to keep it centralized. They wanted to keep control of it. So what's going to happen is we're at that transitional point now where you're going to have two universes start to exist. You're going to have these centralized branded blockchains, okay, that in the short term will be worth a lot of money. Like XRP will be worth a lot of money. I believe it'll be worth $100 one day, and soon, honestly. Today's worth, I don't know, 40 cents or 30 cents, whatever. But and then you'll have the decentralized global currencies or assets, blockchains, that are going to be the true long-term longevity. Those are going to be the ones you really want to stick with in the long run. And the game is, especially now, is accumulating more of these long-term blockchain ones, of these long-term decentralized blockchain ones. So what they're doing is they're using their own branded, and you're going to have, when I say branded, I'm talking about like branded by a government, right? Global government, one of the countries or whatever, or all the countries are going to have their own coin, or even like a Coca-Cola coin, or these branded corporate coins. So you just got to be. That's what they're doing, is they're creating their own so that they can accumulate more of these decentralized coins. That's the game. It's a triple market game right now.
When you do it, it's basically kind of like regular currency. The U.S. dollar is worth more or less than the euro, or so on and so forth. It's an interesting way to think about it.
But what's cool though is like what I was just saying. There's a triple market. It's a triple market play, because in the real world we really only have two markets. You have the fiat, right, which depending on what current. But even then, people still play. Now that I think about it, there is triple markets, because you can do like, oh, I want to get a GME stock with yuan based on the dollar value. So you have this like triple market play, but it's still fiat with fiat, and you don't really know, a lot of the information around those fiats of like how much exists, how much is out there, what's the circulation like. There's so many unanswered questions. Right. With crypto, you can literally play that game straight up, because everything in the industry trades against Bitcoin first. Right. And now Ethereum is the second one that is being accumulated. So people will play the game. They'll play the fiat to Bitcoin to, we call them altcoins, alternative coins, market play. So you'll have like, let's say I have one here, or let's say Ripple. So you have Ripple, which trades against Bitcoin. That's one market, right? That's two markets where that you can play with each other. And then you have another market of Bitcoin to fiat, which is this whole other market. So you can literally, I've stared enough at these screens to see the math between the two go up and down based on what the Bitcoin price is and what the dollar is. Like they'll if Bitcoin's value goes up in dollar value, they'll push down the XRP Bitcoin market to accumulate more Bitcoin, and then they'll keep the dollar value at the same price. But then the Bitcoin Ripple market is going down. So then they're literally like selling into people's Bitcoin to accumulate more of their Bitcoin. So then when the Bitcoin value goes down, they push it into the Ripple market, which then pumps their dollar price up to the next level. And that's how many alt market coins are playing their game right now to assist, because everybody's staring at the dollar value. They're not looking at that Bitcoin market. They're looking at the dollar value. So as long as the dollar value stays the same, they can still make money.
This is a lot.
It is, man. Yeah. I'm having a hard time because I'm so dumb. I do want to ask you about the taxes. We brought it up earlier in the episode, the tax return, and I want your opinion on that, because I don't understand that stuff either. And we get taxes taken out all year round, and then we get our little present in the spring or whatever you want to call it. So it's like, are we getting money, or are we just getting some of the money back that we've been putting in? Like, can you explain that to an idiot?
Sure. So it's based. There's no idiot. There's only aware or unaware. People's like, you're stupid. It's like, no, you're not. Unaware. Yeah. So taxes work based on a few things. It's I've always had the issue. I remember when I was preparing tax returns, people come in and they sit down and they go, and I do their returns, and I tell them, this is your result. And they're like, but my friend got this. Why did he get this and I didn't? It's like, dude, you are a different person, different age. You have kids, you have this, you have that, very different. So it really depends on specifically on like what your lifestyle is. Like, what are you invested into? What kind of job do you have? Are you a independent contractor? Are you an employee? Because one's going to get a 1099 or a Schedule C, which you get, if you don't do it properly, you can get double taxed. or you're going to be an employee that gets a W-2 or a K-1, K-1 distribution if you're part of a limited liability company. So at the end of the day, it's a balancing thing. You can be one that is an employee that goes, just take my money through the year so I don't have to worry about it. And then when taxes are ready to go, I'll put my information in, and then there'll be it balances out. It looks at how much you paid. It looks at your situation currently based on the previous year, and then it'll calculate out, usually calculates out a return, a refund. And then you have people that are independent contractors that they work for cash, or they're, they get gross payments where you don't get the taxes paid. And then you have to be more on top of that, and just be aware that, okay, at the end, I'm going to have to pay a certain amount of tax. And those people usually get a big surprise, because every year specifically with independent contractors, entrepreneurs, there's always a big change, a big shift that usually is negatively affecting them, which I believe, I know you guys are called truth or theory. So I believe it was always the idea to get rid of small business. So I think that was always the idea, to like increase taxes for small businesses where they literally can't afford it anymore. But that's the difference. You just have to be aware of what your situation is specifically and how it's going to affect you in the long run.
We're called truth or theory, but we're very much more truth. I mean, more theory than truth. We like the theories, and we dive into those more so. And I don't know how you validate anything with truth these days, but yeah, we like all the crazy shit. But yeah, man, this stuff is fascinating. I always trust my wife to handle all this stuff, because she's much smarter about this. So I could be getting raped with the financial stuff by my wife all the time and have no idea. It's a trust exercise. I've been so ignorant to this stuff for so long. I just never put the time into learning about it.
And I think there's a lot of loopholes in the tax system, because I go to a guy that I just know, and he always gets me back a good chunk when I've gone to places like, say, H&R Block, for instance, and they're like, here's what you get. And I'm like,
that's funny. I've taken, when I was working for it's actually a family business. When I was working there, I tried to take the H&R Block tests just to be a preparer. And man, it really is, it's very basic stuff. And it's mainly, most of the people that are preparing for those big franchises are just taught how to fill in the boxes.
Yep.
And go down the list of questions and fill in the boxes. And then but the screen told me this is your result. And they have no idea how it got to that point. Mm-hmm. So when you go to somebody that's more of a private company or like a smaller company, usually you get more understanding of the actual form and like how the math works. Mm-hmm. Like when I was preparing myself for my family company, I did it all by hand. I took the forms and I did the math, and I would, do the calculations. So I knew. I actually got to a point where the person would come in and show me their W-2 or whatever. I would look at it really quick, and I could calculate out, to the point of like, I think I know what's going to happen.
That's impressive.
So yeah, it's very important to get those kind of people. You don't want to go to a franchise.
So it's kind of like fast food compared to a family-owned restaurant.
Sure. Block. Yeah. It really is, man. And again, that goes back to what I said. I mean, it's about like the difference between entrepreneurship and taking ownership and power back, mm-hmm. or giving it to somebody else and giving it to, a factory. It's a factory pumping out as many as possible,
Yeah.
They're not really looking at your specific detailed information. So especially with taxes, you want to go somebody that's going to like take the time and ask you the right questions and go through everything they can go through to make sure you're getting the best results.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I like my guy. He's awesome.
If you like him, stick with him.
Yep. I'm absolutely.
They're hard to find.
Yeah, I married mine, so I'm stuck.
You're stuck.
I'm stuck with her. Man, so I know you do a lot of different types of interviews on your show. Are you doing mostly Instagram live content, or do you have a YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel got taken down.
Digging too deep.
I said I
sun.
interview the right people, and they
Yep.
said the right words.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen some of your
I'll
interviews.
tell you who it was.
A
It
great
was
job
you
with
know Robert David Steele.
That's the one that brought you down.
That was the one, man.
Wow.
They were talking about some stuff that was happening. I think it was after the insurrection stuff that happened. And man, I re-listened to it. There was nothing. There was nothing about it. I mean, we were just chatting about it, and that was the one. They took down everything. I had like 15 videos on there. So I didn't have many followers. I had like 1,000 followers. So most of my stuff is on Instagram. No.
Have you ever had any problems with them?
No, I've actually been very careful with Instagram. I wasn't very careful with YouTube. I was just kind of like, if they take me down, whatever. But then I started getting big, and I just didn't go back and fix it. But since the beginning with Instagram, I've if you guys have looked at my content, first thing I do is I all the words, the keywords, like the flash words, I change them. So I'll put numbers and other things to create the word. So that kind of, blocks that, the scanning. And then for the videos themselves, I've always edited them I'll change the video imagery. Like I'll fuzz it out. So I'll change like how it looks for the AI, and then also the audio. I'll change the pitch. So it's worked. I haven't had issues. I mean, I've had some shadow banning, but it's still been pretty good.
I've seen CJ Dunning do that as well with the coding of the letters. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not, but she's very, very proactive in the same subjects that we are.
It's really a good idea because it does searches for keywords, and if you change that keyword, it's not looking for numbers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And it's always different every time because I'm doing it myself, so then I'm always changing it and making it different. So it's worked so far. I haven't had any issues. So
we're too small to get canceled. We haven't had any issues yet.
You think that? I've had plenty of people that have smaller accounts than I do, and they still get taken down. So yeah,
really?
Yeah, be aware.
All right, well, come on, bitches, come get us. I don't know where the hell we're gonna go with the video if YouTube goes down, because I don't even know. Besides our Patreon.
Oh, there's
a
decentralized platform now you can do.
Really?
It's called Library. Yeah, it's LBRY, and it's a decentralized YouTube, and
awesome.
And it's really cool because they use as a token, a library token, to incentivize people to watch. So they get paid to watch, and you get paid when they watch. And the money comes from the protocol.
Help me help you.
And then you can take those tokens. You can take, depending on like what your viewership is, you can take the tokens, reinvest into new videos, which will get you, the more tokens you use per video, it'll start increasing your regions. So you get wider, more access to people as you reinvest it. Or if you have a lot, then you can start taking it and start selling it, and selling it for Bitcoin or selling it for cash.
Yeah.
Damn. I watch videos all day long. Why am I not on this? Be getting paid.
JP and I are going to invest into Bitcoin after this episode. We're going to do a podcast coin and put it right in the middle.
I've been thinking about getting into crypto. I've
there
really
it
been
is.
thinking about it, but
yeah, man. There's no. I mean, I tell people just buy a little bit every day. Buy a little bit every day, because then you'll always be averaging down or up your price, your entry price.
See, I'm on the negative backside of all this. I'm stocking up on things for when shit hits the fan. We're in the apocalypse to trade and stuff like that. But I'm making my current life not as great.
You want Bitcoins or bullets? What do you want?
Yeah, you want Bitcoins, bullets? You want clean water? What do you want? Yeah, I need to get into the current times prepping, if you will, financial prepping.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, because my kids could benefit from this for sure.
You could. I mean, it won't take long to. I was telling somebody the other day that if you invested $150 into Bitcoin 4 years ago, you'd have a couple thousand, you have almost $100,000 now. This was in 2017, so 4 years ago.
When did this start? When did the crypto thing kick in?
Like very first year. What was it?
2009. 2009. Yeah, 2008 is when the paper was published, and then 2009 was when the protocol started. So the processing of the protocol started. And we call it the Genesis block because it's blockchain. So the Genesis block was created, and it's cool because the guy that created Satoshi Nakamoto, he threw away the private keys to the Genesis block, and he had, I think there was like 600,000 Bitcoin in that block, or in that wallet. So you can, I mean, you can go to, there's a website you can go to and like stare at it and just look at it. Look at all that Bitcoin. But the idea was he believed in it so much. He's like, I'm gonna throw this out, and these are burned. You burn it. When you throw away the private key, you burn it, and it becomes just locked in forever time on the blockchain.
That's so crazy, man.
And by the way, there's actually
not obtainable anymore. Those coins.
Yeah,
are not obtainable.
it's more than that. There's almost 2 million coins lost
Wow.
because people threw away their hard drives because they've lost the private keys. And those are the only known ones. Just the ones that are already in circulation but not being used, not moving around. So they've just put them in, until they get moved. They're in this like, oh, we know that these are burnt. These are gone. So there's already technically minted over 18 million. I think it's like 18 point something million that have been minted, but only about 16 million that are actually circulating. They're actually moving around. And there's only ever going to be 21 million. And so those last 3 million or so are going to take about 120 years to mine, to mint. Because that's part of the protocol. So the protocol is that every 4 years, the amount of coins that are created in the Bitcoin protocol get cut in half. Okay, so like every 10 minutes, the math is that every 10 minutes, so about a year and a half ago or so was when it was cut in half again. It was 12 and a half Bitcoins were being minted every 10 minutes globally. Okay, so every 10 minutes on a global scale, 12 and a half Bitcoins are coming out. Now it's at 6.25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. And then in about 2 years, it's going to go down to 3.1 whatever, right? And then keep getting cut in half. And then it goes into the decimal points. So they've done the math, and it's going to take about 120 years or so for it to finish.
So what happens if all the Bitcoins are bought up? Then there's no more.
It's in 120 years.
Yeah.
It's their problem. No. So the idea is that once the, I believe that by then it'll be worth millions and millions of dollars. I mean, because remember, there's only 21, or it's really going to be only 18 million in circulation or so. And so that's how many people in the world exist, right? You have 8 billion people in the world that exist. So you imagine, do the math of what, if everybody was going to be buying this coin, what it could potentially be worth. So what happens is for the miners, right? For the miners that are, because the only reason people are mining is because you're minting these new coins, and they get them. They're the ones, the miner that is offering the processing power gets a reward for offering up that sweat equity, for providing their system for the blockchain. So once it all gets minted and it all gets processed, then they start getting money from the fees. Because whenever you do a transaction, whenever you send a Bitcoin, you have to pay a fee, a miner fee. And that, unfortunately, is like stuck at a certain value. So as the value of Bitcoin goes up, that fee will go up, the dollar value. But the idea is that it'll get to a point where we won't care about the dollar value anymore, right? Because it'll just be about how much of the asset do you own, which will go to like how much Satoshi do you own, not dollars anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's how they'll make the money at that point. Then they'll be offering up their system and their resources to get minor fees.
So now is the Bitcoin based off of the US dollar, or is there, say,
everywhere
different currencies is worth more and more or whatever?
Yeah. So you have arbitrage, major arbitrage because of that. I have a friend that does algo trading. He does quantitative algorithm trading, and he'll go into, there's an exchange called KuCoin, KuCoin, There's another one called Binance. Those are Asian markets. So they'll have like the yuan and certain markets that you don't have here in the US. And then he'll trade those against the Bitcoin here in the US. So you have an ARB. And it's really cool because if you're doing quantitative trading, you're getting like very small points. I forgot what they're called now. I forgot the name of it, but you're yeah, you're getting very small points. Like let's say you get 1%, you break that down into 100, so you're getting like 3, maybe 4 of those for every trade. But you're doing it, and so let's say you have an arbitrage of $4, which is huge between here and an exchange in China. Well, if you're doing with a quantitative trading system and you have $100,000 and you're getting those 3 or 4 per trade, you're doing 30 to 40 to 50,000 trades in a day.
So
right?
This is what causes barcoding in the stock market, correct? Like regular stocks, where it jumps up and down really fast, and then okay.
Yeah, that's in the stock market you have these. You ever heard? There's this movie called Is it called Mockingbird? No, it's not called that. But it's all about like them trying to create the wire that cable wire from Chicago to New York, so that it's faster, so that they can catch those ARBs faster. That's what it's all about. They're all trading in AIs, in these algos. And so stock markets are they're working with billions of dollars. Crypto industry is still very small, but you still have those people coming in and doing that in the industry with the AIs.
Wow.
Damn, Otto, your brain's firing on cylinders that my caveman brain doesn't even comprehend.
This guy's got a V12. I'm running a lawnmower over here.
Smart man. I don't know what it is about numbers, but I am just so dumb when it comes to numbers. You guys make me want to sit down and go watch a cartoon, man, because I am out of my realm.
Well, see, that's why I want to create this course. I've had so many people ask me to teach something around this, and so I'm actually making a course. I'm going to do a free course just to get in to crypto, start buying, and start just accumulating, and then I'm making a more advanced version. Because there is so many passive income opportunities in crypto, where the money is coming from protocols. Because that's the other thing. People are like, "What is it backed by? Who's making this money?" A protocol is making the money, and people believe in the protocol, and they believe in the system, in the hard code protocol. So this thing is worth something. It is worth something. What makes gold worth something? Well, first of all, a lot of people believed in it. Second of all, it has a use, right? You can use it for like technology, gold, copper, silver, all this stuff for technology, for wires and all that crap. And so there's all these variables that when you look at crypto, not only does it have those variables, but it has so many more. We've gotten to the evolution now in the industry. We're at like the 4th or 5th evolution. We've gotten to these things called NFTs. So that's where we're at. A Bitcoin is a fungible token. So a fungible token can only be worth within the same ecosystem, only be worth one to itself. So one Bitcoin weighs the same as another Bitcoin. The dollar value can be different, right? But the dollar value is going to be the same for each Bitcoin. Now, a non-fungible token, an NFT, within the same ecosystem, 2 can be worth more than the other. One can weigh more than the other. So that means that you can build on top of that same token more things than another token within that same ecosystem. So what's that good for? Well, it's good for like real estate transactions. So you have, let's say you create a business on an NFT chain, and you can have several different houses, and one house is very different than another house. So you have different things within the house. Auctions, like for artwork or for music, right? You have one musician that's worth more than another musician, but they're in the same ecosystem. So that facilitates those transactions. So we're at a whole different level of evolution now compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just it's a rock compared to everything else now. It's just a carry of value, right. But it will be worth something in the long run because it was first.
That's wild.
It is. Do you have any more questions about Bitcoin or crypto before we go into the six?
I don't know. So, do you recommend spreading your money around to different coins, or do you say dump it in Bitcoin and see where it goes, or one of the big ones, like you said?
You can go to this website called coinmarketcap.com, and they have a list on there that you can look at the top 10 coins. I always say follow the money. The money is invested into the ones that they want to, at least in the short term, going to be successful. But for sure, three coins that I always try to recommend, maybe four. Bitcoin, because it was first, right? And most people are invested into that, and all of the market trades against it. So accumulate that one. Ethereum is like the third evolution since Bitcoin, which is it's like an online computer where you can create decentralized applications. So imagine like having you have your computer and then you put a CD and then you start using that CD, the application on your computer. Well, imagine an online computer that everyone has access to, and you can go use different applications on this online computer. That's what Ethereum is. Okay. So Ethereum, I think, will be worth a lot of money one day, probably even more than Bitcoin eventually. At one point. And then, I say XRP because in the short term, it's going to be worth a lot of money. They're going to, the bankers are going to be pumping their mony into this thing. A lot of the banks are
$1 right now, 40 cents right now.
No, Ripple is like I think 40 cents. Yeah. 30 or 40 cents. It shot up to like 70 cents a few months ago or a month ago. And then it came back down, and then now the SEC is looking. But see, I think that's all like manipulation. I think that's all a facade just to get people to sell because they want to push it up to the next level.
They do that. And is it the same as like regular stocks? If it's under $1, you have to buy a minimum of 100.
No, you can buy any amount of crypto you want. You can buy. I think it depends on the exchange what their minimums are, but man, I've seen minimums of $1. I mean, there is no minimum really. Okay. If you really think about it that way.
I would like to get into something that's cheap right now. That's gonna, like Bitcoin was, and see it grow. So that's interesting. XRP.
I think Bitcoin is still cheap. I still think Bitcoin is cheap.
56.
Bitcoin. I think by the end of the year will be worth $150 to 200,000. I really believe that.
What is it right now? It was that it
about 46.
46
right and a half.
I've seen it get up
I'm actually, as we were talking, I'm staring at the
yeah.
I got the chart going here.
Is that Weeble?
So I'm always looking at it. Huh?
You use Weeble?
No, I use Coinigy.
Okay.
Which uses trading view.
Yeah. I like Weeble. That's what I've been dabbling with.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
I think he made it up.
Yeah.
Trust him, Oto.
That sounds like a made up word.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, all words are made up.
Can you use Weeble in a sentence?
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
I have Weebles. Can you milk me? All right. Sorry, Oto. I'm a very immature guy.
No, that was a good one.
We're going to jump into the 6 questions because I'm going to get a headache. You guys are blowing my brain right now. You ready for the 6 questions, sir?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
These are more my speed. They're a lot easier. I'm going to have a coloring book after this episode.
Serious.
Coloring book and a little juice box. Number 1, you have the power to make one law. Which law do you create and why?
One law.
It can be anything you want.
One law would be you do you, I do me.
Stay out of my business.
Stay out of my business, man.
Yeah.
Just don't mess with children. That's the one thing. That's my one.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
I like it.
I need some sun. Jesus Christ, I'm white right now.
Vitamin D, man. Gotta get that D.
Whoa, easy now.
It was a nice day, man. You should get out there.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah, we're going to do some hiking tomorrow, so hopefully I can get some sun. I have to wear so much PPE while I'm working right now. I'm not even getting any damn sun. All right, number 2. That was a weird segue. Number 2, what 3 words would you choose to describe yourself?
Loving. Happy. and bodacious.
Bodacious.
What?
There we go.
What does that even mean?
Who uses that word?
I don't know. I just felt it out. It
Bodacious.
just came out.
Hey,
There it
it
is.
works. That
Do you have children?
I don't.
You don't? Are you married?
No. I divorced.
Mhm.
Are those part of the 6 questions? Or
No,
this is
yes.
no, I'm just kidding.
That was 4, 5, and 6. No, I'm just nosy, man. I apologize.
No,
All right,
no. I was married for 6 years. I got divorced, and I have a girlfriend now for 4 years,
Oh, congratulations.
which I will probably stay with for the rest of my life.
Beautiful.
She's the one.
Marriage or no marriage?
You know, I don't know. That's a good question.
I told my wife the other day,
Depends.
yeah, if I get a divorce or she dies or whatever, I'm not marrying again.
If she dies or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but like if I'm out in the market again, I'm never getting married again. I don't believe in marriage anymore. I think it's a bunch of paperwork bullshit for the government to get involved in your life.
100%.
To sum it up,
100%.
yeah. All right, so another negative detour. Number 3. I'm all over the place today. What do you want to be remembered for?
That's a good question. Healing.
In what way?
Just being a healer. Like I've always wanted to be a person that could be around people and people feel healed, and whatever that means. Emotionally, physically, whatever. So I always try to bring light into the room, and I like people to leave the room going, "Whoa, dude! I feel so much better." Why?
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, to compliment you, that relates to that. When I watch your Instagram live interviews that you do and your live videos, you have a nice energy about you, man. Like you have a glow that comes off in your content, and it really stood out with me. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on the show.
I appreciate that. I've had a few people say that to me, and it's good to hear that. It's always it's like I give the energy, you give it back, and it's just like I love that, the connection.
You definitely have that, man. I think that is a reflection of your true self as a person, your spirit, all that good stuff's coming out.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and I love your hair. Number 4, I wish I had your facial hair too, man. You could do so much with that. Look at this white trash facial hair that I have, man.
You gotta be born Brazilian or Italian or something.
My wife's Italian. Maybe she can grow a good beard. Well, number 4, what is something you like that most people don't know about you?
Something I like?
Yeah, what are you into that your fan base doesn't know about?
Oh, my fan base doesn't know about.
Not your.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna take it down another dark path. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm into watching movies. I like watching a lot of movies. I grew up doing that. I say that now, but I haven't done it. I haven't been doing it this last year just because of everything that's happened. I've kind of lost a lot of interest around that. But
shoot off top 3 movies that you are go-to movies for you
of all time.
Yeah, just
that's a hard question to ask a movie buff.
There's so many variables.
Yeah, just 3 movies to give me an idea what kind of movies you like.
Man, my top one was Braveheart for a long time. Braveheart was a solid one. Mel Gibson, he's a solid dude. I've followed him for so many years.
That was like 4 VHS tapes back in the day.
Yes. Matrix, love the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
That really taught me a lot of stuff. And
I've only seen part 1. I love part 1 though.
Yeah, and then it gets into this weird stuff. Especially the third one. And then Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Oh, what is that?
That's a left fielder. But that one, man, every time I watch that movie, it just takes me to like, why am I not living this life? And just in Spain, by the countryside, like on the hillside. So that those 3.
I don't know that one. I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a good one. It's a good love story too. I'm an actor, so that I had to do that. A scene from that movie in one of my master classes, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, and the way that the story, the way that it's presented to is really really nice.
Yeah, maybe JP and I will watch that. Valentine's Day already happened.
Yeah,
we'll watch it just on a random weekend coming up. Patreon content.
There you go.
Watch us cuddle and watch a romantic comedy. Number 5.
Losing viewers again.
Come on, bro. Don't put that on me. If you could have any superpower, which would you choose?
Ooh, flying.
Definitely,
fly.
no doubt. You did not hesitate one bit.
No, man, I'm a Superman fan my whole life. And just that's always been the thing. Because then you could just go anywhere. You just get on. I'm just gonna go the air.
You
just
no fear
go.
of heights?
No. I've always loved flying, bungee jumping, skydiving. I love that shit.
Oh hell yes, let's do it.
Yeah.
Who's your guy? I'm not going.
We're trying to do that this year. JP's terrified of heights, but I want to go skydiving with him.
I get that. Hey, they say you're born with 2 fears: fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. Everything else is taught. So I get it, dude.
That's interesting.
You got that. You got that
Loud noises
basic
don't bother me.
instincts.
The
Yeah,
loud
I mean,
noises
it's
don't
like when you're a
bother me,
baby, you just automatically have those 2 fears.
but- Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I just thought he was a pussy. Oh, we're going no matter what, though. JP, I'm going to put a poll on the Patreon, and if we get to the high enough people saying yes over no, you're jumping, buddy. You're doing it.
We'll see.
All right, last question, number 6. Oh, where would you fly to? Where would be your first go-to spot?
Ooh, the mountains of India.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to just. I know it'd be cold though, but I think it would be a nice view. I've always wanted to go there and see like the Alps and just that landscape. Yeah, just seeing that landscape. I think it would be beautiful to see from up high.
Yeah, that would be awesome. We're right next to the Rocky Mountains, which I can never get tired of. I love it. I'm from Louisiana, dirty swamps. So living here is just so pretty.
Nice. Yeah. I lived in Tennessee for 5 years when I went to college. And so I would go to like Sugar Mountain to go snowboarding all the time. I loved it.
Cool.
But I've never been a mountain to live there though. I don't know about that. That was the one thing I don't think I could do. Yeah. I was always a beach person. I grew up in South Florida, and then I went to California, so I was always by the beach. Although now I'm in Arizona in the middle of the desert, so go figure.
You got the sand, but no water.
Yeah.
All right, last question, number 6. If you could know the absolute truth on any conspiracy theory out there, which would you choose?
Flat Earth.
Really?
Flat Earth?
That's the one. That's the one that I am still. Ooh, that would be the biggest, just in your face. I'm in the last year, it's definitely gotten more solidified for me. And I know this is like a trigger for even conspiracy, for like even people that go down the rabbit holes, because it was for me for the longest time. But man, I've seen some shit recently that I'm like.
There's a few things out there that I'm like, there's no other way to explain it. Like, how do you see the sun and the moon at the same time during the day?
No, I saw this video, dude, that this guy, it was a plane flying up, and it flew up way, way up above the clouds. And the guy's like just filming the sun. And then all of a sudden the sun gets like to like level with the plane. And I mean, it was one of those planes that are like military planes that can go up like 60,000 feet, like way, way high, 75,000 feet. I'm like, what the fuck is this? That would be the one for sure.
Yeah, just the fact that the head Nazi guy that was one of the founders of NASA had that on his tombstone, the Bible verse about the
firmament.
Yeah, the firmament. That alone right there is like a red flag. That's strange.
Oh yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that dude has that on his tombstone. Like, if that's
what is the what do you call
it? The firmament.
The firmament. In the Bible, it talks about the firmament, the water, that it separates the waters above from the ones below. And so the idea is, and this I can go into the science around this, which by the way also like makes sense, that it's about density, it's not about gravity, and that the firmament is this like frequency. It's a vibration that separates a less dense water above from this more dense atmosphere that we live in, which then you keep going into more density, you get into like the water that we have in the ocean. And then if you keep going down, there's actually more dense water than the water that exists. There's this guy, I just saw a video that he found a lake right beneath the water. Inside the water, there was like a whole lake. And he would try to like go down into it, and he couldn't because it was so dense.
Wow.
So,
have you talked to David Weiss yet?
No, I haven't.
I'm gonna put you in touch with him. He's reaching out. He wanted to come back on the show, but I didn't want to do another Flat Earth episode because we've done 2 now. We did a Swapcast with him and a few other podcasts, and then we had Daryl Marble on, who's very pro Flat Earth as well. He's a sharp guy too. But David Weiss wants to reach out to more people, and I think y'all would have a really good conversation.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I have a lot to talk about.
Earth, like dedicated his life to Flat Earth.
Yeah,
guy.
he is the Flat Earth man.
I have no boundaries when it comes to these stuff. I am more curious than I am skeptical. For me, it's really just about, I want to understand it. I want to know, why do you think that way? Why do you believe that? And I think that's what happens. A lot of people, they get triggered by cognitive dissonance, and they're like, you're just stupid. And it's like, well, just keep asking why. Keep asking the question why, and you'll understand why the person believes that. They definitely didn't get there by chance.
Right.
People, we connect our dots individually, and we get to these conclusions for a reason. So I'm open to it.
Nothing's off limits, man. Everything's up for discussion because we don't know anything yet.
Especially after 2020. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Where can our listeners find you and support you, Otto?
Well, I'm on Instagram for sure. So it's just my name, Instagram.com/Oto Gomes, OTOGOMES. I'm on a lot of stuff. I'm on Gab. I'm on Twitter. It's all the same name, Oto Gomes. And don't have YouTube anymore. But if you just connect with me on Instagram, I have a link tree on there, which is also Linktree/Oto Gomes. And that has everything I've ever done.
Okay.
Yeah, Linktree is a good thing. We need to get on that too. We don't have that. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Otto. You blew my mind. I think JP got more out of it than I did because I'm just too dumb for this this conversation. But I'm gonna listen to it again and see if I could make some clips.
Unaware. You're unaware.
I'm unaware. Damn it.
We'll get to a little fun together and see if we can get some cryptos going or something.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in it. This stuff is
the best thing is a little every day, and you just keep averaging. There's actually apps out there that you can just do recurring buys, you do like $5 a day, and then just keep buying. Boom, 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 boom.
Cool.
Because remember, $150 4 years ago, you'd have a couple 100,000 today.
Yep.
Wow, that'd be incredible.
Oh man.
Yeah, we need to upgrade this equipment, so we're gonna get some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, Otto. Have a good one, brother.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.